Tomorrow they're doing the Superstar Shakeup. In red are the wrestlers that I think could move to Raw. The ones in blue could move to SmackDown. I'm going to make my argument as to why, and Rusev's not on the chart because I have a funny feeling that Rusev may end up finding himself out. I can't figure out how the booking's working with Rusev other than it looks like they may figure he's expendable. And I know people are going to say, yeah, but he's so over. So was Zack Ryder. And they buried him. If you get yourself over and it's not the WWE writers, if it's not the guys who are doing the booking that have decided that you're a top guy, you don't get the spot. And that goes back to the 80s. That's the way it works. Some of the most popular wrestlers have been guys that didn't win titles and didn't get ahead and got really treated kind of crappy. It's weird too because I was not a fan of Rusev in NXT. When they first called him up to the main roster, I was PO'd because I felt there were so many other guys who deserved that spot ahead of him. And now here we are years later, and I'm PO'd that Rusev isn't getting the push. Jinder Mahal. He's done about as much as he can do on SmackDown. I think people are tired of him. I think it would refresh his character a little bit. And I do think titles will change hands. As in, they'll change shows. I think the U.S. title with Jinder goes over to Raw. And I think the Intercontinental title, which is why I've got these three, goes over to SmackDown. So that's The Miz, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor. I think we'll all find their way over to SmackDown. Baron Corbin, who apparently WWE wants to push. Baron Corbin will find his way, I think, over to Raw. Because he's been buried on SmackDown lately. He hasn't really been doing anything. And because Jinder's getting moved over, I think Orton's getting moved over. I think that's why Orton gets the title match against Jinder at the big event in Saudi Arabia. Because I think the plan is to move Orton over to Raw. That would make the most sense. Ty Dillinger I threw up here because he's kind of been buried. I know if he goes over with Corbin, then that doesn't really help his case for being buried. And then, speaking of buried, I threw Jeff Hardy in going to SmackDown. Why? That DUI. I don't think Jeff's going to find himself tagged with his brother. I think they're going to move him over to SmackDown. It's the only way I can make sense of the fact that he was in the Brother Nero character in that final Ultimate Deletion match, and yet now he's back to being Jeff Hardy. So to me, that tells me he's probably going to SmackDown. And then him, Seth, Finn, Miz, that makes the most sense, right? Because they're all in that mix. And then Jinder, Baron, Randy, Ty Dillinger, makes sense. For the women, I have Becky Lynch and Natalya going to Raw. Both of them are kind of spinning their wheels on SmackDown. Especially Becky, and I've talked about this before, and I'm just going to leave it at that they're spinning their wheels. And then going the other way, Mandy Rose and Bayley. Why Mandy Rose? Because Paige is no longer leading Absolution. There is no Absolution, so I think Mandy Rose probably goes to SmackDown, which could mean Liv Morgan goes to Raw, because you can't have both of the blonde heels on the same show. And they may break up the Riot Squad as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sarah Logan switch spots. Maybe even Sonya Deville. I don't know how far they're going to go with this shakeup. I think this may be all it is. This is just going based on what they've done before. They've done it before where the U.S. and Intercontinental title switch shows, and I could see them doing that again tomorrow. Remember, they said shakeup. It's not a huge draft. We're not going to see everybody switch shows. And last time, The Miz came over to Raw with Dean Ambrose, and they restarted their feud as if people didn't watch both shows. Anyways, if Ambrose was healthy, I would favor Ambrose going back to SmackDown, but he's not healthy right now. He may get moved, even though he's on the injured list. But we'll see. Let me know who you think's going to move tomorrow night and on Tuesday. I had thought about moving the Bar. I had thought about moving New Day. But honestly, I don't think it's going to be that many people. And I had thought about moving Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. But to me, that seems just like a tease they're doing right now. They're teasing moving them from one show to the other. I don't think it's going to happen. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.